The Gridiron is sponsored by Rothman Orthopedic.
Welcome to this week's edition of The Gridiron, sponsored by Rothman Orthopedics. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. Springford fell in the first round of the District 1 playoffs to Haverford 49-14. Coach, obviously a tough way for the season to end, and boy, just from the beginning of the game, it was an uphill battle for you. Their first play of the game, they go for 70-some yards for a touchdown. I know you're disappointed in the results, but at some point here, the better team maybe won on Friday night a little bit too.
Oh, well, no doubt. I think that I was disappointed in that first play. We constantly talk about fundamentals and importance of little things. Like that first play, we took the lead block on with the wrong shoulder. We didn't keep our contain. And boom. When you're playing, well, how about Trey Blair?
Yeah.
So when you see a Division I play, a lot of kids think they always say they're FCS or whatever. That's what a Division I player looks like and plays like. I said it. I've never seen anybody do more for their. He was back on punts, back on kick returns. He blocked a punt.
Played
he had
defense,
an interception, or he blocked a field goal, I should say. Recovered the field goal too. Why not? He ran for a few yards, and he also threw for a touchdown. So I've never really seen. You were talking to me a little bit about where I would put him and kids that I've seen live. A couple names jump into my head right away. Jaron Hayes, who played at Cedar Crest, was
I remember that name.
Bullet Bob Hayes' son.
Went to Michigan State?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Who knows for me?
Perry Patterson went to Syracuse, was a quarterback at McCaskey. Actually, Cedar Crest had a quarterback, and his name's escaping me. At the same time, they had Jaron Hayes. They had a quarterback that went to Purdue. And again, I'm losing it. But
This kid, like you said,
just in terms of just doing everything on the field, I've never seen anybody do more. Part of our deal was we were going to try to go at him defensively, and probably should have done that earlier in the game and had it kind of designed in a certain way. When you lose like that, there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. I was disappointed in our, overall, our players' aggressiveness or lack thereof. A lot of guys accepting being blocked instead of trying to destroy blocks. A lot of guys on the wrong angles, and if you make one mistake with a player like that, you see what happens. And offensively, we made a ton of mistakes. Really, really disappointed in how we played. But I think what it really boils down to is, and again, I said this in the paper, but for the third straight year, we've been getting poor draws for what we are or who we match up with. But for the third straight year, strength played a major role in the outcome. And it's just something that, we now, in the next couple of weeks, will finally have a facility. But the facility doesn't mean anything.
Right, exactly.
Our kids
I'm sure Haverford's got a fitness center or whatever. They just had
our kids have to buy into it. I mean, I can tell you that our coaching staff spends more hours in the weight room than any staff that I've ever been on. But it's a matter of there is an equipment issue, or there was an equipment issue when we move into the new facility. There will not be an equipment issue.
No, there won't be.
So there's some of those things like, listen, for 10 years, we've never had the whole team doing the same workout at once because of lack of equipment. In other words, Coach Hill would design for the week A, B, and C, 3 different workouts, and kids would be on different workouts. And that makes it harder to track everybody who's saying he's doing what he's doing, and it also makes for a little bit of a kind of a mess. But going forward, we won't have those things that we need to deal with. So it's going to be a matter of, our kids, putting the time in to get stronger, making a commitment so that when we come up against a team like Neshaminy 3 years ago, like Downingtown East last year, like Haverford Friday night, where the strength is equal, or hopefully better for us. And we're the team, that can line up and just, run the ball or, mix it up. But ultimately, when you need a yard, you can feel good that you're going to get that yard.
Yeah, and we talked about going into that game too. You felt you were moving the right step offensively, really getting back to that balance, being able to do it. And just the position of the game really didn't allow you to keep running the ball. You had to end up having to throw the ball a little bit out there, probably more than you wanted to, but just the way the game went out there caused that type of decision-making from you too, right?
Well, listen, they went up 14. We moved the ball a little bit, got down inside the 10-yard line. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. There's a different play I had in mind on the third. We didn't make an adjustment. We had an audible adjustment that we didn't make at the line of scrimmage. And then would have called a different play probably on third down in hindsight. But we had a chance at a field goal, would have made it 14-3, and guess who blocked it? Trey Blair.
Trey Blair. He's like Boobie Miles from Friday Night Lights. He could do it all,
But, if we score there and make it 14-7, or even if we get the field goal,
make them think a little bit.
It does, maybe it changes things, but it certainly would have changed the decision-making for the rest of the half because we kept trying to score, and if we went 3 and out or if we had to punt, they were taking 1 or 2 plays and scoring, and it became, it was still 14-0 at the end of the probably, I'm not sure how many minutes were left in the first half, but, being able to run the ball, if you, couple things. If it's 14-0, we get the ball, we're able to run the ball. It takes time off the clock. It gives us halftime to gather our thoughts.
Keeps it out of their hands, too.
Keeps it out of their hands. Yeah. And we weren't able to do that as well as we would have liked to do and move the chains. And ultimately, then boom, 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 they scored in like 2 seconds. Yeah. And I say this, there's a lot of people make points that the playoff games are lopsided, and they are. But there's different reasons for that than a regular season game. A lot of kids, what goes in their mind is they start thinking this could be my last game. And they, they're not. Those games tend to be lopsided, not because one team was that much better. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Haverford, but things start entering in their mind. And as coaches, we're trying to fight that, but it's really hard to combat. And so I think it's not unintended consequences, but there is
looking
something
at the score so much is what people are out there saying.
Right.
This team stinks, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. This team's overrated for this reason, that reason.
Right.
There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different variables, I guess, than just the scoreboard.
Before we do highlights here, and always tough when it's, it doesn't matter what sport you're coaching, football, whatever, it's tough to say goodbye to some seniors here too. And I know the seniors came up huge for you.
Yeah.
I know Dr. Nugent says it a lot when he always talks to us about coaches, but your teams do take you as far as your seniors go. And it was a special class for you, this senior class for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a weird class in the sense that, James Albert is the second of 2, so his family's been part of it for a long time. Mm-hmm. Same with, the Brogans are still going, but the same with the Scarcellis.
Yep.
Also, Dante Bonanni's been around, it seems, forever as well. And there's a lot of different guys that, have been a part of, and their families have been a part of it for a long time. So, can't say enough. There was a lot of different contributors in the senior class. There's a lot of guys. The other thing, and, I'm kind of giving away some of my banquet speech, but hopefully people forget about that in January. But, some of these guys were like James Albert came back with a big cast. Blake Scarcelli came back with
another cast.
Blake Terizzi has, thought as a junior that he may never play again. Got a second opinion on it. Ryan Colander, every week, one of his shoulders is, not 100%. There, you can go down the list of these guys who they kept, like Ryan Colander on Friday night had a shoulder issue, and he's like, Coach, I'm going back in. Now, he has to be approved by the trainer.
Right.
But, we were giving him an out, saying, listen, Ryan,
you've done your job.
We can get somebody, at this point in the game. Ryan Colander's like, no, Coach,
How about your quarterback from last year to this year?
Oh, Ryan Anger.
Yeah,
we forgot about Ryan. He had torn meniscus and played the whole year, got surgery.
And
all these guys, like
that's a lot of hits for a quarterback to take during the year too. As much as he runs too, like that. It's a long season.
All these guys, Armonte earlier in the year had a shoulder issue and kept playing. These guys, you can't say enough about them. And we've said, and we always say, you got to know the difference between pain and injury in football. And our seniors, and I'm probably forgetting some guys too as well, but like these guys just kept going out there and doing their best for this community, for our football program, for our school, and they should be held in high regard.
Commended for, yeah. All right, Coach, good stuff. We do have some highlights here. Let's check out the offensive highlights.
Not as many as we would
usually
like to have.
Yes, from Springford, Haverford.
Offensive highlights are sponsored by Euro Motor Cars of Devon.
Yeah, so we went empty quite a bit more than we had, and this ball should have been out into Brogan right away, but there was a little pressure. This is Joe Brogan's first varsity catch, and not a bad way to break him in.
Yeah, they're only bringing 3, 4 here.
Yeah, they're bringing 4, and the ball should be out.
Right.
We should be looking to the wide side of the field here, and
but finds a wide open receiver out there.
And Joe does a great job, gets us down. We didn't score. That was the blocked field goal drive. Here's another empty set. Now this is Dante Bonani going up against the Division I recruit, and it just shows you how good Dante is. He does a nice job of holding him off, and Ryan throws the outside shoulder.
A smart football player for 3 years, Bonani. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
knows what he can do. Here you're trying to run some bubble.
And we had that a lot during the night, and maybe should have even run it more than we did. We did run it like 4 or 5 times, but again, our receivers needed to block a little bit better. This one, they did a nice job. Some of the other ones, we could have done a little bit better job. This is the play I wish I had called on that third down play.
It's got some good action in here going.
Yeah, so what you
Looks
got
like
here
option.
is option and then a seam by the tight end, and makes it real difficult there for how they were playing it.
Still seems that missing piece, for you, like the tight end. You just go back.
Well, Josh Hellauer did a great job this year. James getting hurt didn't allow us to go too tights. You see Ryan on a quarterback trap there. That was our first score. But yeah, James getting hurt, we were just starting to hit our stride with him when we played Boyertown, and early in the first quarter he got hurt and dislocated his elbow. But like I said, we thought he was done, and he came back, but we wanted to keep him on one side of the ball, and I don't know how he could catch with that
thing,
robot thing on him, but so.
All right, Coach, good stuff right there. Make sure people stay tuned here, all right? We got more to talk about, all right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, make sure you stay tuned through the commercial break, and we'll talk more Springford football.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create,
She did it.
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy. It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Rothman Orthopedics. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, usually our announcement time here, but we'll do some announcements in the last segment, talk a little bit more wrap-up.
Let's announce that we're going to talk about the new weight room.
Yeah, make sure you got to stay through this segment. We're going to talk, we just got to
talk about some of our things that are going on.
new weight room, things for the off-season. So we'll save announcements to the last. And we usually talk defense here, and not a lot to talk about here. But once again, this is how many times you come on the show throughout the year and talk about defense keeping you in the game, keeping you going. Like, once again, this game obviously wasn't the way they wanted to play defense.
Right.
But they did it, once again, let's look at the whole year. They did a really good job for you this year, too.
Yeah, so one of the things that our defensive line is not very big. So if you go across there, like Terizzi started the year at like 205, Colander 215 maybe at the most, Donnie Nicolene's around 205, and Ryan Beppel is not much more than that. So, those guys were trying to take on double teams, keep guys off the linebackers, and it was, it's difficult. So these guys are battlers. They are really smart, fundamental football players. But at some point, football is a game where, the guy that can move the other guy better, and it has good technique, ultimately can win it. So those guys really, were trying to manage it, but they were getting double teamed a lot of times. And linebackers, again, I was early in the game, early in the show, I said, like, we could have played better, don't get me wrong. Linebackers need to take defeat blocks, defensive linemen need to defeat blocks. Defensive backs need to take proper angles.
Make some and like you said, at the end of the day, you got to do some fundamental things right. You got to make some tackles out there then too.
And ultimately, let me say this: in our games, playoff games, so in 10 years, and I do this study, and it's coming out, the whole stat book, and we have a lot of. Well, we can talk about at the end. We can talk about guys that set records as well. But one of the things, if you look at we're 5-8 in 10 years. In playoff games.
And the one year we won 3 to get to the district final too, right? Yeah.
So what I can tell you is in games that we've won, our turnover margin is like off the charts. In games that we've lost, the turnover margin is the other direction, bad. And so Friday night we had 2 turnovers and a block field goal, and didn't get 1. So that's a big part of it, But when you're just barely holding on to try to make a tackle, you cannot try to rip the ball, and that's part of the issue.
Well, I mean, you just go back through this show. How many times we talk about, like when it might be a bigger game and you're winning the turnover battle, right? And games on this show where we talk about close game, whatever, and you're losing. As cliche as it sounds about football, and they talk about it from high school to pros, boy, turnovers just seem to be a major. And talk about some of your best defenses were the ones that turned it over the most against some of these other teams.
Absolutely, and that's a big part. You got to protect the ball, and you got to try to turn the ball back over to your offense. But it was disappointing. I think that yes, their offensive line and their guys were bigger and better than our guys ultimately. But we still could have played better, and we still could have played fundamentally more sound. We still could have played a little tougher, and I think it's hard. You're like, whoa, this guy, if he gets in the open field, and then all of a sudden you're trying to take a different angle instead of the angle you should take because you're worried about, well, he's going to get to this point A faster than me. And, he was.
Right, and that's what I said when we watched the film last week on Blair. Like, you just saw him in highlights, and you're like, oh, my God, look at this kid. Like, and I would think it'd be tough for me if I put myself into a 16, 17-year-old shoes and be like, how am I going to, what I mean? How do I stop this kid a little bit out
We were
there?
trying to.
And I'm sure how he played, too, caused some more doubt then in the game, too.
Well, it'll be interesting this week because they play Downingtown East. It'll be interesting to see how they do against a team that probably matches up
size up front,
I guess ultimately, I wish we just had a little bit more, played with a little more fire, played with a little more fundamentally.
Even there's been times in the past where you've been outsized or whatever, and you found a way to win a game or something like that. Go back to that district run. Now, don't get me wrong, you had some guys on that team that had some size out there, but you could say you're outmatched when you went down the Ridley and you found a way to win that game out there.
Well, we were up 28-0 at halftime.
You could say no, I'm saying looking at them across the line. The Penridge team was big that you played and you beat down there at that place too. So once again, you play the right way, do fundamentals. You can overcome a little bit of the matchup.
I think the best example of that was the State College team in 2015. But there's other games where matchup-wise that we've hung close. Maybe not even won, but we're able to hang close because of the schemes that we're doing, because of kids playing their tails off. And being more fundamentally sound, and honestly, in a lot of ways, I'll put our staff up against anybody in terms of scheme and coaching, and we're able to stick in games that way. And Friday night, it just wasn't there.
Like I said, sometimes they got better guys than you, and it is what it is, and you tried your best.
On film, I would say honestly that I underestimated how good they were on the offensive line and defensive line, because the games that we got were against teams that didn't necessarily have great records. And I thought they were, on film, I thought they were huge. They weren't as big as they were on film, but they were stronger. I don't want to say they played down to their opponents, but they
did what they needed to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Friday night, they came to play.
Got after
that was their first district playoff win ever.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen them in the 6A, and
they've been around the past couple of years.
Are they like a 6A,
0-3.
5A team? Did they go back? They've been 6A for a while now. Okay.
Yeah, they're 0. I think they were either 0-3 or 0-4. PB beat them a few years back.
Okay.
And so that was huge.
And you're talking
just
about
kind of was a perfect storm.
I feel like we're talking a lot about they're a hot team too. Both of you guys had won a lot of games, and both it was. They're a hot football.
I don't know
team.
how they lost 2 games earlier in the year to the teams. Well, they lost to Garnet Valley, who's a quality team, but they lost to another team. I was like, how is that possible?
Trying to figure things out a little bit.
Yeah. It was kind of like our Central Bucks South game.
Figure things out a little bit, and that goes the wrong way. All right, Coach, good talk there. We got some defense highlights?
We have a few.
All right, let's check out the defense highlights from Springford, Haverford.
Defensive highlights are sponsored by Meshach Physical Therapy.
I just realized it's a lot of Fords we're saying there when we talk about these two schools.
So this is one of the things that we wanted to show you. See James Albert coming up there. He missed the tackle, but we get a kind of a, I guess you want to call it a coverage sack.
Option, he has a throw. He can throw this or run it if he wants.
Probably, he can always run it. So, here he is. Again, this was what we were intending to do.
That looked good right there. We're bottled up, nowhere to go.
We made him bounce it. We took it on took the ISO on with the proper shoulder, bounced it right into our
your
defensive end.
Yep.
And Terizzi gets another tackle for a loss. And here's a good job, just a pursuit.
They're trying to get some outside here.
Yeah. I forget who made this play, but anyway.
It's late in the game.
Yeah.
They got Blair out, yeah.
Yep.
Looks like Teets comes up from his safety spot there.
They did a lot of this kind of thing, and we made some plays. Again, this is closer to the end of the game, and our guys continued to play with with pride. They didn't want to come out, but we did not have a lot of success on the defensive side.
And listen, hey, it doesn't matter. Once again, we're talking football. A lot of sports, just sometimes it isn't your night. Whatever the stage. A lot of times teams have had rocking and rolling, then just whatever. Basketball doesn't shoot the ball well. Turn the ball over in basketball. Baseball commits a couple errors, and there's a game, something like that then too.
And in football, it's just magnified. It's magnified because there's only 10 games.
Yep.
It's magnified because, one loss in those 10 games against a team maybe that you should have beaten, and then people start looking at the other teams that team lost to or that you beat, and all of a sudden it becomes, there's a lot of people, message board guys or whatever who want to,
they're good at that.
They want to have comments, and like I said, I wouldn't trade any of our guys for anybody. They're great quality kids and great products from their parents.
Yep.
And I would like to think that the Springford teachers and administrators and other coaches all had a role in helping them with expectations and things like that. And I wouldn't trade them for anybody. So
I say the same thing all the time. I wouldn't trade you guys. Whatever.
Yeah.
You lose something or whatever. Kids are upset and said, "Listen, I'll do it with you guys anytime, over those guys, any other day of the week." And I feel like a lot of coaches say that about their kids.
Yeah, I'm
around here at
sure.
Springfield.
I'm sure.
So, all right, Coach, good stuff right there. We kept the teaser. We're going to talk some more. So,
Okay.
All right, make sure you stay tuned through the last commercial break, and we'll have some Springford football announcements.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
but I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Rothman Orthopedics. I'm your host, John Brennan, with head coach Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach here. So obviously, we talked about it preseason a little bit, hoping we would get in there, at the start of the school year, whatever the case may be. Obviously, you're excited, coaches are excited, students are going to be excited for this new fitness center, weight room facility. Just, it's got to be an exciting time as a coach of football, and I would say all of us other coaches have to be excited about the way the district is going. We just hired a strength and conditioning coach. It's going to get those kids in a program, doing the things that help them perform better on the field.
Well, like I said earlier in the broadcast, we've been working for 10 years with 2 benches, 4 squat racks, 1 incline bench, and 2 platforms. Now, that can work if your team has like 20 dudes or 20 girls, whatever, if you're a small team. But, for a football team, especially in the summertime when you have, hopefully 60, 70 guys a day, it's a huge kink in the plan. So the new fitness center is, and Mr. Giositz, who's going to be in charge down there, it's hopefully, if it's not a game changer, then we're doing things completely wrong. It is 7,500 square feet or 7,000 square feet, I believe, on the first floor. There's another 2,500 square feet on the mezzanine, which is basically
all
a
cardio. Yep.
And there's 16 all-in-one stations with platforms built into the floor. There's probably 100-foot at least turf area, 15 feet wide. Everything is top quality, and we're really, really excited to get in there. It was supposed to happen in July, and there's been elevator issues and things like that.
But once it gets rocking and rolling, it is, like you said here, game changer. And the idea of just having this outside coach. I know Game Day did a special on these strength and conditioning coaches and the role they have with these teams. And, it's a special position. It's something new. And I'm sure coaches are excited. And he's juiced. He's ready to go.
Will's excited because he's like, usually when you get hired somewhere, you don't get to, you get the closet over here to work out of or whatever. He's walking into a pretty good situation. I did see that. I'm a member of Facebook pages where it's about strength and conditioning for high schools. And ultimately, some of the people in the industry weren't real pleased with that because who do they highlight?
Oh, you're asking me.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you mean like on game day? You're saying?
Well, on that segment, like who did you see?
Yeah, right. You see like the guy that's like he's going crazy. He's got the funny
Right.
mustache. He's wearing the short sleeve shirt when it's snowing. Yeah,
Right. And he's doing jumping jacks in the
Yeah.
middle of the snow. That's not necessarily the norm. Like they're highlighting people with personalities. And, you know, I saw some feedback online like, hey, you know, there's other guys that work just as hard. They just don't have to wear the mustache.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yep.
And they don't have to wear short sleeves or cut off sleeves in the middle of winter. Like, and they, from a professional standpoint, and I'm sure those guys are all good, but there's other people who are good and they don't have to have
like
a
that.
mohawk.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah, got you.
And women, by the way, too. So it was an interesting thing, like, just hearing the feedback about it. But I'm, really, really excited about this facility and, no excuses anymore. We have more than 2 benches.
Yeah, you got
all right.
Everything any high school sports team would ever want is in there ready for them to get better as an athlete.
And I just want to say, too, because, Dr. Nugent has just done an unbelievable job with this. I've talked to people in the industry on the peripheral, and a lot of times when they have done new facilities for schools, the principal or even the AD or whoever is in charge is like, yeah, just do your best, you do it. Dr. Nugent, like,
was involved from every step.
There is, yes, A through Z, and then double A through double Z, and analyzing everything because he just wanted it to be right. And that's the kind of personality he is.
Yep.
So I just know from guys, they've said, I've never seen anybody put the amount of time in that Dr. Nugent has done, like off the books, like outside of school, like not going to visit places, seeing equipment, testing equipment, asking questions, re-asking the same question and make sure like somebody else is answering the same way. And it's just, we have some good people here that really, really care about how things go and what things look like.
Yeah, it's exciting times not only for Springfield football, but really Springfield athletics moving forward here the rest of the way. So before we get out of here, just a little bit, hey, you said goodbye to some seniors, but obviously you got some guys back that you're going to be. I guess a big question for you is going to be obviously quarterback needs to be it's always been.
Start on offense first?
Well, yeah, we want to start on offense. Quarterback's going to be a fill of guys a receiver, but I think everybody's out there saying who's our next in line, and I'm sure you got some guys.
Oh, no idea.
Yeah, you got guys in your head you think could be the guy.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea quarterback. That's going to be an ongoing. That's how we always treat it. I mean, some years it's obvious.
Yeah.
But we always try to treat it that way. On offense coming back, Andrew Yoon, who we lost for almost the whole entire year. Is back, and Nick Teets is back. Coach Algio, our wide receivers coach, really, really likes our younger sophomore receivers, and I do too. I think they have a lot of potential there, but they have to put in good time in the offseason. We do have a few linemen back, Kyle Kennedy, Ian Harvey, who played guard, and then Ryan Beppel has played some, but we do need some underclassmen to step into those other roles, especially at tackle. Josh Hellauer returns at tight end. So, there's some guys there. Harry Eddy, F.A., got some time as
running back,
as a sophomore at running back. There's guys coming back. We have more coming back on defense. We have Donnie Nicoline and Ryan Beppel and DJ Francis coming back on the defensive line. We lost both of our defensive ends.
You lose your middle line. Or
James Albert played
middle
outside.
Line. They moved them outside, yeah.
But we do have 3 other linebackers coming back, and Johnny Pergine and Jay Seth Owens, and Zach Marinello got some time as well. In the secondary, pretty much everybody's back.
So, yeah.
Nate Capers played a lot and did a really nice job, as well as Naftali Stein, Harry Eddy F.A. will throw his
Teets played safety for you there too.
Teets and Andrew Yoon and Mason Brill.
So you got some guys here. So there's
Need to
Looking
replace our
forward-
kicker,
Yeah.
punter. But yeah,
You're looking,
the
yeah,
big
it's
deal
like
is-
almost like take a couple weeks here, then you start thinking 2020.
Well,
It's
everybody-
almost like
yeah.
that scene we talked about Friday Night Lights earlier. Season ends, you take off some of the guys and you start putting up some new guys, start thinking in your head that depth chart a little bit for 2020 a little bit.
My take is that our underclassmen were not really happy about how, and even guys that didn't play, were not happy about how it ended. We had our 9th grade team on the sideline behind us. I talked to them yesterday about, the off season, and I got the sense that guys, when you see guys engaged and nodding, they understand. Bad taste in their mouths from that last game, and hopefully that translates into the offseason. It's funny, like last year at this time after we lost to Downingtown East, they were talking about, they play weight room football and blah, 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 and that they get in the weight room on January 2nd. I'm like, January 2nd? Like, we're in the room before Thanksgiving. Like, our guys start up, right away. Now, I'd like to be playing through Thanksgiving, so
Sure.
we can't do that. But, we start up pretty much right away, and we let them go, kind of get back into the swing of things before we say, here's your workout.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting this year because Coach Giositz is going to, work with us and give us, we're going to show him, hey, here's what we've done, and
How do you want to
go from here? And I'm sure he has some theories and whatnot, but there is still one more game I wanted to mention too. Tomorrow,
big ad.
Blue Gold 8th grade game, and we're really excited about that. Coach Seislov and Coach Souter are putting together a pregame meal beforehand for those guys, and I think that's going to be
Under the
a good
lights,
thing.
Coach McNally Stadium. So
Yeah,
if you want to
tomorrow
come on
at
out,
6. So yeah,
see the Rams of the future.
there you go.
All right, Coach. Well, congratulations on a PAC championship and an outstanding
Thank
year
you.
for Springford football.
All right, thanks.
All right, that's going to conclude the 2019 season of the Gridiron. For the head coach, Chad Brubaker, I'm John Brennan. See you next season on the Gridiron.